Welcome back to our channel, dear friends. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us as we unpack all the emotional twists and turns heading our way. So let us jump right into the story we all love so much. I have been watching the latest developments between Willow Kane and Michael Corinthos, and I just have to pour my heart out about what I am seeing on our screens lately. It is so incredibly clear from the upcoming storylines that these two are destined to remain deeply entangled in each other's lives, whether they actually want to be or not. When I look at them, I see two people who are bound by an eternal connection, a deeply woven invisible string that simply cannot be severed, no matter how much anger, resentment, or betrayal currently sits between them. They have been through so much together, weathering storms that would have broken lesser couples, and that kind of shared history does not just vanish overnight. It lingers in the air between them, making every glance and every word feel heavy with unspoken memories and lingering attachments. The children, of course, are the beautiful, innocent anchors in this stormy sea. Wiley and Amelia are the absolute center of their universe, and they are the ultimate reason why Michael and Willow can never truly walk away from one another. I have always admired how fiercely Willow loves those children. Goodness knows, she is a woman with a multitude of flaws, and she has made her fair share of terrible, heartbreaking mistakes. But no one can ever deny the pure, overwhelming motherly love she holds in her heart for Wiley and Amelia. The children adore her just as much, their little faces lighting up whenever she is near, and that bond is something Michael is acutely aware of. He sees the way she looks at them, the way she holds them, and he knows deep down that she is a good mother, even if she has failed him as a partner in so many ways. This brings me to Michael's current state of mind, which I find so utterly fascinating and deeply moving. We all know Michael has the resources and the family power to absolutely crush Willow in family court if he truly wanted to. He could use every piece of evidence, every misstep she has ever made, to tear her away from those children. But he does not do it. He chooses mercy. And I think that speaks volumes about the man he is and the love he still harbors for her, even if it is buried under a mountain of hurt. He is willing to endure the pain of having Willow in his life, willing to tolerate her presence, simply because he knows that breaking her heart would mean breaking his children's hearts too. It is a sacrifice born of pure fatherly devotion, and it touches my heart to see him navigate this impossible situation with such careful consideration for his little ones. The decision to move Willow into the gatehouse is, in my opinion, a stroke of absolute genius by the writers, and it perfectly illustrates the agonizing tug-of-war happening inside Michael's soul. By putting her in the gatehouse, he is establishing a physical boundary, a way to protect his own wounded heart while still keeping her incredibly close. It allows him to monitor her, to keep a watchful eye on the mother of his children, without entirely severing the family unit. But oh, the psychological weight of that living arrangement. They are separated by just a few yards of manicured lawn, close enough to see the lights turn on and off in each other's windows, close enough to feel the presence of the other person, yet separated by a chasm of emotional distance. It is a brilliant, torturous dynamic that keeps them tethered together in a state of constant, simmering tension. Just imagine the sheer, suffocating reality of their day-to-day lives on that estate, passing each other on the grounds, exchanging tight-lipped pleasantries for the sake of the children, all while their hearts are pounding out of their chests. I can feel the cold shoulders they give each other, but beneath that icy exterior, there is a burning, unresolved fire. Every time they are forced to interact, you can almost see the ghosts of their past happiness hovering around them, reminding them of what they have lost and what they are desperately trying to pretend they no longer want. It is the kind of quiet, domestic tragedy that makes for the absolute best television, because it feels so incredibly real and relatable to anyone who has ever tried to navigate the messy aftermath of a broken relationship. And let us talk about the chemistry, because I know I am not the only one noticing this, and the internet has been absolutely buzzing about it. There is a raw, undeniable electricity between Willow and Michael right now that is practically leaping off the screen. Even when they are at each other's throats, screaming and arguing about the children or their past mistakes, they radiate this fiery, overwhelming energy. It is as if the anger is just a mask for a much deeper, more primal desire. You can see it in the way their eyes lock, the way they invade each other's personal space when they fight, the heavy breathing, and the flared tempers. It is that razor-thin line between passionate hatred and passionate love, and they are dancing right on the edge of it. Sometimes, when they are yelling, it truly looks as though deep down they just want to tear each other's clothes off and let all that pent-up frustration explode into something else entirely. I can picture the exact moment the dam finally breaks, and I am on the edge of my seat just thinking about it. If the story continues down this path, it is only a matter of time before those repressed desires bubble over. I can see it happening right there at the gatehouse, perhaps late at night after a particularly grueling argument over the kids. The yelling would slowly turn into heavy silence, the physical distance between them evaporating until the anger suddenly melts into a desperate, furious passion. It would not be sweet or tender. It would be a messy, angry, intensely emotional encounter, maybe starting right there in the living room, crashing onto the sofa or even the floor. It would be a moment of pure surrender to the bodies and the hearts that still remember how to love each other, even when their minds are at war. Of course, the morning after would bring a flood of complicated, painful emotions. I can already see Willow and Michael frantically trying to put their armor back on, refusing to look each other in the eye, and desperately telling themselves that it was a terrible, unforgivable mistake. They would try to sweep it under the rug, to pretend that this momentary lapse in judgment changes absolutely nothing about their broken marriage. They would go back to their separate corners, Michael in the big house and Willow in the gatehouse, both of them silently torturing themselves over a moment of weakness that actually meant everything. They would try to bury the truth, but we all know that in Port Charles, secrets and suppressed feelings never stay buried for long. The writers of General Hospital are masters of the emotional twist, and I truly believe they might choose a much more dramatic path, ensuring that this fiery encounter leaves consequences that will last a lifetime. What if that one night of angry, desperate passion leads to a surprise pregnancy? Oh, my heart skips a beat just thinking about the sheer soap opera perfection of that scenario. A new baby, completely unplanned and unexpected, arriving right in the middle of their bitter separation. It is the ultimate complication, the one thing that would force them to completely reevaluate every single boundary they have tried so hard to build. A new life growing inside Willow would tether them together in a way that no gatehouse or divorce paper ever could. To really understand the profound weight of a potential new baby, we have to look back at the deep, lingering wound in Michael's heart, a wound that Willow herself helped create. We cannot forget the heartbreaking history involving Sasha Gilmore Corbin and little Daisy Corinthos, Michael's youngest daughter. Willow's actions, her meddling, and her relentless harassment were the very reason Sasha was driven out of town, taking sweet little Daisy with her. Because of Willow, Michael was forced to endure the agonizing pain of being separated from his baby girl. He has had to miss out on so much time, so many irreplaceable moments, all because of the choices Willow made. That is a heavy, dark cloud that has hung over their relationship, a source of deep-seated resentment that Michael has struggled to swallow. I can only imagine the quiet agony Michael has endured, missing Daisy's first steps, her first words, and all those precious, fleeting milestones that a father cherishes. He has had to love her from afar, and that kind of loss leaves a permanent scar on a parent's soul. Willow knows this. She knows the pain she caused, and I believe she carries a tremendous amount of guilt over being the catalyst for Michael's separation from his daughter. It is a messy, painful history that makes their current dynamic so incredibly rich and fraught with emotion. They are not just fighting over their own relationship, they are fighting through a minefield of past hurts and profound losses. So, imagine the emotional earthquake of Willow discovering she is pregnant again in the midst of all this history. For Willow, It might feel like a terrifying but miraculous chance at redemption, a way to bring new life and new joy into the family she fractured. And for Michael, the revelation would undoubtedly rock him to his core. Initially, there might be anger and disbelief, but Michael is a father first and foremost. The thought of a new baby, a child he could raise from day one, never missing a single milestone, would awaken every protective, loving instinct in his body. It could feel like a karmic balance, a second chance to experience the uninterrupted fatherhood he was denied with Daisy. I truly believe that an unexpected pregnancy could be the very thing that finally breaks down the walls they have built around their hearts. It might make Michael realize that life is too short and their connection is too strong to keep fighting destiny. He might look at Willow, carrying their child, and feel that overwhelming urge to bring her back into the main house, not as a prisoner or an adversary, but as his partner. They could look at Wiley, Amelia, and the promise of a new baby and decide that it is time to stop fighting fate. They could choose to lay down their swords, forgive each other for the sins of the past, and commit to rebuilding a true, loving family unit. Of course, there is no absolute guarantee that their story will tie up in such a neat and beautiful bow. This is General Hospital after all, and there are always outside forces, like Serena Baldwin's manipulative schemes, waiting in the wings to cause trouble. But I cannot help but feel hopeful. I am rooting for that gatehouse romance to ignite, for the angry passion to lead to a beautiful consequence, and for Michael and Willow to find their way back to each other. They will undoubtedly face many more trials and heartbreaking challenges in the days ahead, but a shocking, life-altering piece of news like a baby could be the exact miracle they need to pull them back from the brink. I will be watching every single day, my heart full of hope, eager to see how this incredible love story unfolds.